Here, well, like I said, we've got a busy day, and I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us today. Finally, we get some pretty ladies up here on stage. We just had a bunch of stinky team ropers and calf ropers and bareback riders and all that good stuff. But I want to introduce these gals right here. Right here beside me is Kaley Bass. She's a 3-time NFR qualifier, and I was wanting to welcome her to the stage and everything. Y'all give her a hand. There you go. And next to her is Michele McLeod. She's a 2-time NFR qualifier. And down there on the end, Trula Churchill, which is a 3-time NFR qualifier as well. I always have trouble saying all that. So, gals, how's it going? You're in Las Vegas. It's been busy and all that good stuff. So, Kaley, how's it been going for you so far?
You know, it's been going good. I've had clean runs this whole time, so it's been good.
Yep, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
We were just talking, all of y'all's won a little bit of money so far, but Michele, talk to us about how important that is, you know, to confidence-wise, and I'm sure your horse can feel it, you know, and all that good stuff, but how important is it to win some money in these early rounds?
It was great for me. Last year I didn't get it started off very early, so this year I jumped out the first round and placed, and I was super excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then came back the second round and got a barrel, but then was okay last night. No money, but there. This is the first time this mare's running this pin, so the first night was great for me.
Sure.
So it was a good start.
Absolutely. Trula, you as well have won some money. And talk about your run, I guess, and through the round so far.
Yeah, same as Michele. I jumped out and placed good the first night, and then come back and tipped one the next night, and made a good run last night. No money, but was good. So yeah, it gets your confidence started right at the first, and can build on it instead of fretting about what do I have to do. So yeah, It's been good.
Sure. Kaley, last year, talk about your horse a little bit. 2014 AQHA Horse of the Year, but that had to be quite an honor. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, I've owned Cowboy ever since he's a 3-year-old. So just to all the things that I've accomplished on him. Yeah. And with him being a part of our family for that long,
Y'all trained
it's
him
a great
as well,
feeling.
right?
My sister and I did.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Michele, talk about your horse.
My horse, we got a little over a year ago, a nice mare. She had a good fraternity year, and then I jumped on her in the fall last year, and won quite a bit on her. She's a phenomenal mare. Both my daughters have placed really well on her.
Wow, yeah.
She won the national high school finals this year with my youngest. She's filled my oldest daughter's permit, so now she's on a card in rodeo, and she won some fall rodeos with my daughter. So she basically can pack us all and win with us all, so we're very lucky to have her.
Y'all just need a 1-horse trailer and a 4-door rig, and you're good to go.
I think that's true. I think we should go back to the Cadillac and the 1-horse trailer and just haul her around.
Absolutely. One saddle and
great.
And a
one
feed bucket.
saddle, one bridle, and one bucket, and we're good to go.
That's perfect.
Cut the expenses down.
Oh, yeah, you bet. You bet. Trula, talk about, there's so many aspects, and I could ask 1,000 questions about barrel racing because, talk about the ground and the run and being first or being last, in the ground and or even in the middle, I mean, how important is that? I'm sure it is.
The ground has been a little sketchy topic this year.
Right, sure.
I honestly have not watched any of the other girls run.
Right.
My horse has handled it. I know there's some that have struggled with it a little bit. But honestly, I haven't watched any of the other runs. My horse is handling it. I'm not going to stress over what everybody else is doing. I can't change that.
Sure.
This year, the first 2 nights they won the round towards the bottom of the bottom of the ground. Last night a little higher up when they won it, but I think they've been placing top and bottom and all. Sadly, the ground's been pretty consistently not very good.
Right, yeah, that's a good way to say it.
It's been consistent.
Yeah, consistently bad.
Consistent top to bottom.
Yeah.
So, I think you can probably win on any position, if your horse can handle it.
Right, sure. Kaley, talk about, I can't think of another event where you're not in the arena. You come from in the dark, basically, and through the alley and then into these lights and crowds, and the barrel racing is so popular and people hollering and all of that. What does that feel like, with you and your horse coming through that alley, and didn't just, there's the world right there, talk about that a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely, you're back there in the back and kind of in a hole, and you come out there and everybody's, the lights and everybody's yelling, so it kind of gets your adrenaline running real good.
Right.
But you know, it's exciting too.
Right,
at
sure.
the same time.
Oh, I imagine. Yeah. Michele, I think I would rather ride bulls than to have to come down that alley through the gate, you know, and then take off. It can get a little dangerous back there, can't it?
Yes, it can. And depending on, most of the horses are fairly good and they're used to it. But it can get, you're pretty confined and that little gate's a little tough. So you got to take that into consideration, trying to get mentally prepared for that coming here. But knock on wood, I think all three of us have done really well at it and hope it stays all the way for this rest of the week.
Yeah, I never wanted to be one of the husbands or anything, or somebody else leading horses down through there.
Yeah, it's more dangerous to be on the ground down there
I
than
would
anything.
imagine. I would imagine.
It's not a fun occupation to be the ground person.
Sure. Trula, talk about, you know, growing up as a child and all that good stuff, and, you know, when you got started in the barrel racing, maybe some of your heroes. Did you come to the NFR and watch as a child or anything like that?
Well, I've been at this so long that the NFR was still in Oklahoma City when I was a kid.
Absolutely.
And I did live in Oklahoma then and was close to it and did go a couple times as a kid. You know, there's so many women ahead of us that paved the road for us. You know, I think back to, you know, the Carol Cruz-Trees and the Jimmy Monroes and the Gail Petskas and those ladies that, you know, made... as a kid, when you saw them, and, you know, it made you want to go and do your best too. And you know, then later on, Charmaine and Sherry, you know, they're great ladies, great inspiration to us all, you know. So through the years, I've had a lot of heroes in the rail racing world, and I'm pretty fortunate that I've been able to compete against a lot of them too. Right,
sure. Kaley, going back to your horse and this and that, and y'all three had to win some big rodeos, you know, to even get here. It's, you know, it's such tough competition, and even people that don't make the NFR, you know, there's probably so many of them out there that can win it at any time. But talk about, you know, maybe pick one out of the year, you know, that maybe your horse surprised you. Do you ever think, you know, you think you're fast, but then you look at the clock and you were way faster than you even thought, you know? Is there one that stood out, you know, throughout the year, maybe a big win for you?
You know, Calgary for sure stood out a lot to me. You know, you're running for a lot of money there, and for me to have just won it by a tenth.
Right, sure.
It was pretty exciting. So, you know, you go in there, and I knew my run was a little slower. He kind of hung up on some of the barrels. So, you know, you always hope that your times just gives you that. And he did give me that little bit that day. So, very grateful for that.
I imagine. Michele, I always like to talk about behind the scenes, you know, say 3 o'clock this afternoon, what's your schedule? What do you do when you get out there? You know, talk about that for us.
I actually lay down in the trailer and try to rest. That's about my only time too. So everyone kind of leaves me alone, and I just turn on the TV and try to chill out for a little bit. So I plan my day around that. And then when I get out to the Thomas and Mack, I just lay in the trailer and rest.
Right. Trula, do y'all go out there? Do you know, warming up your horses, you know, you are the last event, you know, and I guess it starts, about 6:45, something like that. Are you kind of riding around that whole time? I guess it depends on your horses.
Right, absolutely. There's some horses that take a little more riding. Some horses don't take as much. So, you know, we ride in the Grand Entry every night. So I do saddle my horse before the rodeo starts. When I saddle my Grand Entry horse, I saddle my barrel horse too. And as soon as the Grand Entry's over, I come back out and just kind of take a breath and get my thoughts together or whatever, and listen to, my husband's a bulldogger and friends with all those guys, and so I listen to the bulldogging and get my horse's legs wrapped and ready and stuff during the bulldogging, and then I'd get on when the bulldogging's over do a lot of walking. I don't lope him a lot. Kind of depends on his attitude that day on how much loping he gets, but I do walk him a lot and keep him moving and stuff. Some girls' horses don't need as much, and so they're a little later coming in. So, you know, some girls stay outside in the warm-up area and warm up there, and some girls come in the tent, you know. So, yeah, it does vary with horses on how much riding they get.
Right. Kaley, is there any way to know, you know, say you're towards the end of the round or anything like that, do you know what's going on in there, you know, when you're in the back, or do you even want to know, or how's that set up for you?
There's TVs back there that we can see. Sometimes you hear, sometimes you don't. It's kind of hard to hear back there. But I have a friend who's back there with me, and she kind of lets me know what's going on. You know, kind of like the first round, few girls had tipped barrels, and it's always a good thing to know, you know, what you need to do for that night when you're all the way in the back and you can't hear as well.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Michele, what about you? Trula had mentioned, you know, she really don't like to watch the others. What's your style?
Well, in that alley, I try to pay attention of what everybody's doing just to try to know what's going on. And I love barrel racing, so I wish I was kind of in there watching everybody run. So I try to pay attention the best that I can, and in turn, it lets me be a little bit more relaxed, and I get into the barrel racing. So I'm just hoping everybody has great runs and the best run that they can, and let it fall how it falls. But I'm for these great horses. I mean, it's just neat to watch these phenomenal athletes make good runs. So after last night, they made a big effort to make the ground better. So I'm hoping each day we can get back on track now and start having some phenomenal runs like there were last year. And let's start having a great barrel race where it's great for everybody to watch and have fun.
Absolutely.
So it's just a great sport, and everyone can get excited with it. And it's nice when you see horse after horse just making nice, consistent runs.
Right, exactly. Trula, I didn't really talk about it much last year because, I didn't know kind of how the system would work. But talk about the American a little bit. And is that something you guys will, you know, I know, what is it, the top 10 automatically go, is that right? I guess later in the weeks, you know, maybe if you haven't had a great week and you're sitting 11th, I guess the American starts coming to your mind a little bit maybe. But talk about that a little bit in that rodeo.
Sounds like a great opportunity. I didn't get to go last year. And you know, last year it was new to everyone, and you didn't really know what was happening, or that, you know, top 10 were going to get to go or whatever. You know. So last year didn't really play into it too much. This year, you know, it's kind of in the back of your mind. There's a lot of other opportunities that our standings give us too. You know, for the girls' trips to Calgary, the Champions Challenges and stuff. So you know, it's kind of in the back of your mind all week, which. For me, I don't think too far ahead. I just try to go make the best run I can every night, because if I get to stressing about the other stuff, then you make mistakes that you shouldn't make. So, you know, I just try to make the best run I can. I've had some people ask me, are you going to try to qualify for the American, talking about going to the qualifier events or whatever, and I'm like, well, yes, I am trying to qualify for the American, but not at the qualifiers. Even though, you know, it takes away your chance for the million, but still, you know, it's you know, to qualify this way to me is pretty important, pretty
absolutely.
special.
Well, ladies, I'm not going to keep y'all much longer. I want to say thank you. Talk about Cinch. They're a great sponsor. You know, Kaley hit on that a little bit. I want to mention them while you're up here as well.
Yeah, Cinch is a great company, and I'm grateful for their sponsorship to me.
Right, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, would you please give a hand for Kaley Bass, Michele McLeod, and Trula Churchill. Ladies, you're welcome up here anytime, and it means a lot that y'all came. Thank you very much.
Thank you.